Shalom Israel. Call Halal Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakah Quadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me this truth and who rule well. And a sincere salutations to the house of David, you Akim pushing this truth to the four corners of the earth in all truth and all faith and in all sincereness, risking and putting your lives on the line daily for the names Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. It's Zechariah coming at you with another lesson. Lord's willing, it be edifying.
Kim, what is on your radar?
Show me your papers. More and more Americans and people across the globe are hearing these ominous words. People are being required to show proof of vaccination or be denied the ability to dine peacefully in restaurants, hold jobs, or even attend school. Earlier in December, several GOP lawmakers in the New Jersey State Assembly were denied access to the Assembly chamber for refusing to show proof of vaccination.
You see this? See this, folks? It's denying us entry into our house.
This is America.
This is America. Illegal procedure, voting procedure they're relying on. It was deemed illegal, and they're enforcing it.
The state police are the best in the world, but they report to the executive branch and how outrageous a governor to turn the state police on
This is
members of the
tyranny,
legislature.
folks. America, see what's happening
Putting
here.
our heroes up here.
See what's happening, America.
That's right. Members of the minority party were blocked from representing their constituents and voting on legislation for refusing to adhere to a rule that was arbitrarily created by a commission. This was overturned by an appellate court as there's nothing in the Constitution that requires proof of vaccination to vote. But they tried, and that should alarm all of us. It feels like punishment now for noncompliance rather than science.
Absolutely. Punishment for noncompliance, and they're doing it because they can. They being, the government policy makers implementing this. The more power, the more they can boss us around and get away with it, the more power they ultimately have. Rochelle Walensky admitted, I was just seeing this on Twitter a few minutes ago, when she's talking about this changing the quarantine period, and she actually admitted, she's like, look, we didn't think people were going to really put up with the 10-day period anymore, because now that so many people are getting it, it's going to be really inconvenient, so we shortened it to 5. It's not science. So they did that because that's what the public will allow. So, but that tells you that they think the public will allow, is okay with, is broadly on board with requiring vaccination in a broad, variety of circumstances. I'm not on board with that. You're not on board with that. But they think they can get away with it. And that's ultimately, that's what's most disappointing to me, because I expect government to push the limits, to require things. But I also hoped, I guess naively, that more people would say absolutely not. Right?
Lamentations chapter 4, verse 17. As for us, our eyes as yet fail for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that cannot save us. Right. 2/3 of our nation continues to wait on help from Esau, Edom. Okay, to better their situation here in America, Babylon the Great. And the scripture says vain help, okay, meaning empty, meaning no help at all. No help is coming. But 2/3 of our nation continue to put their trust in Esau, Edom, and America, Babylon the Great. It says, in our watching, we have watched for a nation that cannot save us. And as you can see, these Edomites in the clip that I just showed can't even save themselves from the wickedness of the elite of their nation. Okay? Amalek, the chief house of Edom. This Edomite politician yelled out tyranny. He said, this is tyranny, America. He said, in our house. Okay? When you look up the definition of the word tyranny, it's cruel and oppressive government or rule. And have not you Israelites, you so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, been experiencing tyranny since so-called Christopher Columbus discovered America? You can't trust nothing these Edomites say. They blatantly lie to their own people, their own nation. So how much more you? Psalms 58 and verse 3. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. And the elder Malcolm always brings up how these Edomites, under the guise of law, they push these unrighteous decrees and unrighteous mandates, okay? These unconstitutional acts, all right, that they commit under the guise of law, okay? Under the appearance of law, all right? Just like in this clip I showed, how they tried to keep the politicians, out of the chambers by saying that because they haven't gone on that date with Vanessa, they're not allowed to enter the chambers and do their job. Okay, that's unconstitutional. That's not a law. Okay, they tried to get away with it. This is what these devils do, man. And ultimately, the Constitution is not going to save America, Babylon the Great, man. The judgment for this place is already written, and 2/3 of our nation is going to go down with the plane, so to speak. Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 12. Wherefore thus saith the Holy One of Israel, because ye despise this word, and trust in oppression and perverseness, and stay thereon. And if that's not the truth, I don't know what is, man. 2/3 of our nation trust in oppression. They love it. But yet they still continue to trust their enemy. Ecclesiasticus says, never trust thy enemy. But our people trust in oppression. All the things that have been done to them through the hands of Esau and Edom. Any sane person, any sane nation would be like, you know what? Let me stay away from them. They don't have my best interest at heart or in mind. But our people trust in oppression, okay? And there's many ways that our people have been oppressed since, since our ancestors got off of those ships. So continuing on in Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 13. Therefore, this iniquity shall be to you as a breach ready to fall. All right, iniquity, sin upon sin upon sin, swelling out in a high wall, whose breaking cometh suddenly at an instant. Right, so basically it's going to be a trap, a snare, okay, set for your downfall. Okay, you trusting and believing in America, Babylon the Great, believing that this empire is going to last forever and it's going to come back from the state that it's in currently, is going to be a trap to you. All right, so let's get this in the NIV. Okay, so Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 13, NIV. This sin will become for you like a high wall, cracked and bulging, that collapses suddenly in an instant. And if you were watching and paying attention and listening, okay, to the prophets, the men out there on the highways and byways sighing and crying, okay, it would be plain for you to see that this wall is getting ready to collapse. Okay? And you wouldn't be building your house right beside it. All right? If I'm making any sense. This is Isaiah chapter 31 and verse 1. And before I read it, the blue letter entitled this chapter, Help Not in Egypt, but in the Most High. Okay? So, Isaiah 31:1, woe to them that go down to Egypt for help. Okay? Woe meaning destruction. And this isn't talking about ancient Egypt. This is talking about spiritual Egypt. Okay? Spiritual Sodom. All right? This is referring to America, Babylon the Great. So it says, woe to them that go down to Egypt for help, and stay on horses and trust in chariots, because they are many, and in horsemen, because they are very strong. And that's going into 2/3 of our nation, continuing to put their trust into this place because of the strength, okay, that America, Babylon the Great has, okay, and the way it carries itself. Our people can't imagine or fathom this place coming to naught. Okay, this place being destroyed by nuclear destruction. Okay, which it is prophesied to be destroyed by ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missiles. Okay, so the trusting in the chariots and trusting in the horsemen. Okay, they trust in the power of this place. They trust in the military of America, Babylon the Great, the soldiers, and everything that it has to offer. Okay, at once it was the #1 nation, the most powerful nation. Okay, and this was that was a long time ago, but they still have this false hope in this place. Okay, so continuing on, it says, or from the top, woe to them that go down to Egypt for help, and stay on horses and trust in chariots, because they are many, and in horsemen, because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord Yahweh. And that's ultimately how 2/3 of our nation is, man. They don't seek the Lord. They don't see or hear spiritual things, man. They're spiritually discerned. All right, they're carnal minded. They believe in what they can see, what they can touch, what they can feel. They're carnal, like their father, the devil, man. Esau, Edom. Okay, and they're gonna receive the same reward as their father. Okay, because they right now 2/3 of our nation are unrecognizable to our power, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. Okay, and if you on the battlefield, because we're in a spiritual war, and you're in the same armor as the enemy, you're gonna get taken out. And by 2/3 of our nation following the customs of this place, and the way of life, and just being quote unquote, a Babylonian, man, an American, these things are going to bring a harsh judgment. Okay, and reality is getting ready to set in. All right, to all the people of our nation that trust in this place, that trust in oppression, that believe this nation is going to save us. Okay, so Lord's willing, this was edifying. Shalom, Israel. Wa abad babal.